the matter we dey solve. But he no fit work. The head too strong. Now the matter we dey solve. Wetin dey solve? The matter we dey solve. Wetin dey solve? V-Sticks. Onye na-eme mkpọtụ a? Na the matter we dey solve. But he no fit work. The head too strong.
obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in Agricultural Economics in 2000. Because of her love for knowledge and academics, she furthered her education and backed with a Master of Science degree in Agricultural Economics in 2003 and also obtained a PhD in the same department in 2009. She was appointed an assistant lecturer in the Department of Agricultural Economics in the University of Ibadan, and she is presently a senior lecturer in the same department. Dr. Luakemi Adeola Bayelo is a recipient of many scholarship, fellowship, and prizes, among which are 1. FS Better Poverty and Economic Policy Research Network 2008, 6 grants by African Growth and Development Policy Modeling Consortium and funded by International Food Policy Research Institute. Valorization grant by African Growth and Development Policy Modeling Consortium, also funded by International Food Policy Research Institute. Also, travel grant by the British Academic and African Studies Association of the UK. Travel grants from African Growth and Development Modeling Consortium over 3 consecutive years. As a scholar, she is a member of the African Institute of Agricultural Economics, Nigerian Institute of Agricultural Economics, African Growth and Development Policy Modeling Consortium. She is a teacher, teaches many courses in the department, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels, and she supervises students in the department, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. She has supervised about 60 BSc candidates and 54 MSc candidates. She is currently supervising 5 PhD students. She has served the department and faculty in various administrative ways. She is currently a member of an undergraduate committee. She was a member of the postgraduate committee between 2014 and 2015 and 2017-2018 section. She was a member of the Departmental Welfare Committee in 2012-2013 and 2013-2014 section. She is a member of Congregation Representative of Senate. She is the faculty representative of the Board of Faculty of Science, to mention a few. Dr. Oluwakemi Obayelo is happily married to Dr. Elijah A. Obayelo. The marriage is blessed with adorable and wonderful children. I present to you Dr. Oluwakemi Obayelo.
How that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but God has chosen the foolish things of the world to confront the wise. And God has chosen the weak things of the world to confront the things which are mighty, and base things of the world, and things which are despised, has God chosen, yea, and things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. Definitely, I am not the wisest, smartest, strongest, and most skillful among my colleagues, but God's grace and mercy have brought me this far. For by the grace of God, I am what I am. The background. A major global challenge is how to secure sufficient and healthy food for all in an environmentally sustainable manner. Global estimates show that over 800 million people across the globe went to bed hungry every night, and an estimated 2 billion people in the world did not have regular access to safe, nutritious, and sufficient food in 2019. Moreover, if recent trends continue, the world is not on the track to achieve zero hunger, and the number of people affected by hunger would surpass 840 million by 2030. The global food systems are under pressure because the global population is expected to surge from the current 7.8 billion people in 2020 to 10.4 billion by 2050. Consequently, world food demand will surge, and it is projected that food demand will increase by 70% in the world and by 100% in developing countries. It is trite that a sustainable food system must occupy a central place on the global agenda for sustainable development and for any nation that wants to be food and nutrition secure. This lecture explains food and nutrition security in a changing food system and identifies pathways to achieving sustainable food and nutrition security in Nigeria. Mr. Dean, sir, the global history of food and nutrition security dated back to about 8 decades ago and has evolved through a sequence of definitions and paradigms from 1948, when enhancing food security and undernutrition was first pledged through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This has evolved to the current definition of food and nutrition security as when all people at all times have physical, social, and economic access to food of sufficient quantity and quality in terms of variety, diversity, nutrients, content, and safety to meet their dietary needs and food preferences for an active and healthy life, coupled with a sanitary environment, adequate health, education, and care. A comprehensive understanding of food and nutrition security emphasizes 3 dimensions, which are the categorical, socio-organizational, and the managerial dimensions. The categorical dimension has 2 factors, which are the physical and the temporal. The physical dimensions are that of availability, access, and utilization, while the temporal factor is the stability dimension. Food availability refers to the physical existence of food and is determined by the level of food production, stock levels, and net strength. Food accessibility refers to individuals having adequate resources to acquire appropriate foods for a nutritious diet. It is dependent on the level of household resources and prices. Utilization refers to the consumption of safe food and nutritious food, which meets consumers' dietary needs. Food utilization is also related to clean water, sanitation, and health care. Stability is a temporal determinant that refers to at all times, even if your food intake is adequate today, you are still considered to be food insecure if you have inadequate access to food periodically. The socio-organizational dimension can be achieved at the macroeconomic stability are the external and internal balances of a country. The meso level of food security describes the self-sufficiency of communities, building upon community assets and emphasizing access to affordable, nutrient-dense foods. The micro level is at the household level of food security, and it affects inter-household bias and food distribution in the household. The managerial dimension, security into regional and country portfolios systematically, and this can be done if nutrition-related issues are integrated into the AAA food and nutrition project cycle, that is from assessment to the analysis and to action right from the inception of policy. The Nigerian food and nutrition security situation, high dependence on wheat, rice, and maize imports, raises concerns about the transmission of price volatility in international community markets into domestic markets and consumption. Nigeria's agricultural trade deficit also widened, with imports exceeding exports by 689.7 billion in 2019 compared to 549.3 billion in 2018. Agricultural contribution to GDP declined from 26.3% in 2005 to 25.2% in 2019. It however declined to 24.45% in 2020. Its contribution further declined to 22.35% of the GDP between January and March 2021. Furthermore, there are 33 silos across the country, with a total storage capacity of 1,136,000 metric tons, of which only 286,000 metric ton capacity is operational. This figure suggests an unsteady food supply and consequently food and nutrition insecurity in Nigeria. Food accessibility. Evidence of an upsurge in food and nutrition insecurity incidents and the vulnerability of households in both rural and urban areas in Nigeria has led to inquiries about the richness of available food baskets. Furthermore, the dwindling trend in per capita food, protein, and fat in Nigeria suggests that a low level of food and nutrition security is a major problem in Nigeria, and the situation has worsened in the past 15 years. A typical household in Nigeria spends almost 3/5, that is, about 60% of their income on food due to food price hikes, implying that Nigerians are poor and spend over half of their income on food. The poor economic access to safe and adequate food is also an indication of a decline in food and nutrition security. Food utilization. Nigeria's moderate and severe food insecurities have been worsening while the prevalence of undernourishment increased marginally. Data from the World Bank shows that Nigeria has made little progress towards achieving the target for stunting of under 5 children, with a decline in prevalence rate from 36.8% in 2018 to 31.2% in 2020. Nigeria has also made some marginal progress towards achieving the target for wasting from 6.8% in 2018 to 6.5% in 2020 of under 5 years children. The prevalence of underweight children also declined from 21.8% in 2018 to 18.4% in 2020. However, this is higher than the global estimate of 15%. Similarly, the prevalence of overweight children under 5 years of age declined from 2.1% in 2018 to 1.6% in 2020. Furthermore, water and sanitation indicators are still suboptimal in Nigeria, with only 57% of households having access to an improved water source, which is a slight improvement from 52% in 2015 and only 47% having access to good sanitation facility. Food stability. Nigeria has witnessed an accelerated annual consumer food price index from 21.42 in 2001 to 206.7 in 2020. In addition, annual food inflation declined from a peak of 19.5% in September 2017 to 15.9% in 2020. Furthermore, owing to incessant economic recessions, weak economic growth, and increasing consumer price index and food price inflation, about 4 out of 10 Nigerians that live below the poverty line and spend a higher percentage of their income on food, and consequently reduce consumption and shift to lower cost products, often with adverse nutrition consequences. Food system approach in achieving sustainable food and nutrition security. Mr. Dean, sir, a food system consists of subsystems like the farming system, the waste management system, the input supply system, among others, and their interactions with other key systems, and all the inputs, actors, activities, and the outcomes of these activities. The food system approach is therefore a way of thinking and doing that considers the food system in its totality, taking into account all the elements, their relationships, and related effects. The benefits of a food system approach include enhanced capacity of the actors to deal with food systems complexity, enhanced evaluation of trade-offs among conflicting policy options as drivers and outcomes will be taken into account and in a more holistic way. And thirdly, there will be a better coordination of policy actions, institutional frameworks, and actors, enhancing overall food systems governance. What are the food system outcomes? Food system outcomes include food and nutrition security, food waste and loss reduction, socioeconomics like increased income, employment generation, and a sustainable environment like increased biodiversity, improved climate change mitigation, and adaptation. Who are the actors in the food system? Food system actors are arguably the largest group of natural resource managers in the world, including the diverse global community of farmers, food processors, transporters, marketers, consumers, research and technical institutions, government and non-governmental organizations. Activities in the food system. Activities in the food system include the supply of inputs and services, production, processing, distribution, utilization of food, and the facilitating environment in the extended value chain. Pre-production activities include developing and delivering of inputs as well as research and development, while production activities include production of crops, fish, and livestock. The supply chain activities. These represent all post-production activities in the movement of local foods from the farm to fork, including marketing, markets, distribution, aggregation, processing, storage, packaging, transportation, and retailing activities. The global food supply chains include traditional exports of raw and processed agricultural products from one country to another. Food loss and waste management. Food loss and waste management include all activities to minimize food losses, food waste, and waste recycling and disposal that occurs throughout the food system. Consumption. Poverty is a major challenge to food consumption because it represents the deprivation of basic human needs faced by people. Food is therefore on the superior hierarchical scale to what we want to do. And poverty ends when hunger is taken out of poverty. What are the drivers of the food system? The drivers of the food system include the natural environment, the technology, the economy, the natural environment. Degradation of the ecosystem through food production activities exacerbates the climate change effects, which adversely impact the abundance of biodiversity with negative consequences on availability, accessibility, utilization and stability of food and nutrition security. Technology. The Green Revolution was the long-lasting technological changes of the 20th century that improves spend a large share of their income on food as well as the fragility of the food system. The policy dimension. The food system also has policy and political dimension because all the policies that affect the food system and what we eat are debated and contested. Rules emanating from the political system, including legislation, taxes and subsidies, and other policies affect the food chain. Blockading food supplies has always been used as a weapon of war to weaken the enemy. Poor governance, incoherent policy making, and policy cycles undermine a longer-term approach to address food-related challenges. The demographic factors that drive the food system include the population dynamics, the geography, demography, urbanization, and globalization. Sociocultural dimension. The specific sociocultural norms that control household food allocation can influence access to food. For instance, in many societies in sub-Saharan Africa, children are not allowed to eat micronutrient-rich foods like meat, fish, and eggs due to the cultural beliefs and taboos that the child will develop bad habits like stealing. However, children are free to hunt their game for household consumption. The gizzard is also often allotted to the person for whom the chicken is slaughtered. Interconnectivity within the food system. A structural change in the food system might originate from a change in another system, and some policy intervention to address one part of the system will impact the other part. For instance, a policy promoting regional trade will also affect the transportation system in that system, and vice versa. Fantasy of the Nigerian food systems in achieving food and nutrition security. What are the food system outcomes in Nigeria? Mr. Dinsa, not only is agriculture able to cater for the food needs of Nigerians, it has also employed over 70% of the Nigerian population. However, farmers and ranchers make up just 1.3% of the employed US population. Nigeria's smallholder farmers own 0.5 hectares of land on average, predominantly managing mixed livestock systems, including fish farming. In addition, the current agricultural production is not sustainable and contributes 13% of greenhouse gas emission in Nigeria. In the 2020 Global Hunger Index, Nigeria ranks 98 out of 107 countries with a score of 29.2, suggesting that Nigeria has a debilitating level of food and nutrition insecurity. Who are the actors in the Nigerian food system? Nigerian women's smallholder farmers play important roles in food and agriculture and constitute 70 to 80% of the agricultural labor force and are involved in all aspects of agriculture, including planting, crops, livestock production, fish farming, harvesting, processing, and marketing, as well as food preparation and family care. Despite all these enormous tasks, they often have lower outputs than their male counterparts, largely due to gender disparity in access, control, and utilization of productive assets. Youth and active adults account for a small fraction of the agricultural statistics, and there is a major concern of replacing the aging rural agricultural population, especially with the youth unemployment rate of 42.5% in the fourth quarter of 2020. Furthermore, deep global economic shocks caused by COVID-19 impact the cash flow and financial liquidity of producers, small and medium agribusinesses to financial institutions due to inhibited production capacity, limited market access, loss of remittances, lack of employment, and unexpected medical costs. Activities in the Nigerian food system. Pre-production activities. Nigerian farmers are faced with limited adoption of research findings and technologies, inaccessibility to farm inputs in terms of quality and quantity, high cost of farm inputs, poor access to credits, and outdated land tenure systems that constrains access to land. That is, they have access to 1.8 hectares per farming household, inadequate access to water for production and processing activities, inefficient farm input procurement and distribution, and weak agricultural extension systems, among others, have kept agricultural productivity low. In addition, farmers predominantly access finance through traditional institutions, but small-scale producers and processors have limited access to finance from formal financial institutions as interest rates are on the high side. Production. Nigeria has a largely ring-fed agricultural sector dominated by peasant smallholder farmers who constitute about 90% of farm holding in the country, practicing mostly subsistence traditional farming systems, and they lack capital, modern skills, energy, and other viable ingredients to produce in large quantities that will meet the requirements of the growing population. Although the percentage of cultivated arable land is increasing, the arable land cultivated per person is decreasing, less than 1/5 of a hectare, with a stagnating level of agricultural machinery. This showcases the high level of smallholder agriculture in Nigeria, with negative consequences on food availability in Nigeria. Food supply chain in Nigeria. Mr. Dinsa. Existing markets in the country are fragmented and disintegrated from the farm, leading to incohesive actions and logistic bottlenecks for transporting farm produce to the market. The low level of agricultural services is also an issue in most, if not all, value chains. The same is true for rural infrastructure and facility for processing and storage, whether this is for cold chains, perishables, or staple food products. In Nigeria, many tens of thousands of urban and rural wholesalers inside and outside wholesale markets and hundreds of thousands of truckers, loaders, porters, and warehouse agents are the channels by which food flows to retailers and consumers. If their operations are constrained, then food flows to consumers are hobbled, food system employment is reduced, and other services such as cold storage of vegetables for farmers are cut off. The digital platforms currently mainstreamed into the Nigerian agricultural sector mainly utilize mobile applications, web applications, and short messaging service. However, digital applications in Nigerian food supply chain have some limitations, including weak mobile network infrastructure in rural Nigeria and are non-existent in some cases. Excess fees by mobile phone operators, lack of cooperation from institutional bodies, that is the state and the non-state actors, weak knowledge on e-commerce by supply chain actors, and accuracy of customers' addresses during deliveries, that is the logistics. Food losses and waste management in Nigeria. Nigeria faces a food deficit because massive food losses and high prices for domestically produced food products. This has caused Nigeria about 78.9 million metric tons in food losses and waste annually, representing 40% of total production and 9.1% of the country's GDP, 31% of total land, and 5% of the country's greenhouse gas emissions. Consumption. In Nigeria, low quality of nutrition, education, and cultural beliefs and taboos, as well as religious beliefs, influence food choices and utilization of consumers in Nigeria. Furthermore, about 83 million Nigerians are without the financial wherewithal to evade poverty and seldom experience chronic hunger. Furthermore, the demand for food and agricultural raw material are unlikely to return to pre-COVID levels rapidly due to reduced consumer expenditure, consumer confidence, processing farms selling stocks rather than newly produced products, and the wider economic slowdown. The drivers in the Nigerian food system. The socio-demographic changes. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, and its population is over 200 million people, and it is expected to double by 2050, according to United Nations 2019. The country also has an average population growth of about 2.6% and an urban population growth rate of 4.4% in 2019. With this transition also comes rising incomes and shifting diets, demanding higher value and more nutritious foods. Consequently, high urban food demand is met with cheap food imports, which further lowers the incentives for investment in Nigerian agriculture. Economic changes. Food price volatility has a strong impact on food security because it affects household incomes and purchasing power adversely. In addition, volatility in consumer price indices, lending rate, exchange rate, and oil markets has direct effects on the current food price volatility in Nigeria. Owing to enormous gap between domestic production and demand for many staple crops in Nigeria, the country spends a huge amount on its scarce resources on food importation. Policy. Mr. Dean, sir. Nigeria adopts a predominantly supply-side approach to curb the food insecurity in the country, which is evidenced by the plethora of food and nutrition policies that have been developed, even in recent periods, to boost agricultural production in the country. Nigeria is yet to devote 10% of its annual national budget to agriculture to be on track to achieving 6% growth in productivity as projected in the Comprehensive Africa Agricultural Development Program, CADEP, and ECOWAS Agricultural Policy Documents. Furthermore, The food system in Nigeria is also a recurring problem because of ineffective policies and weak institutional framework that ensures sustained public and private investment in the sector. These are fueled by corruption in the system. Corruption is endemic in Nigeria, and the country ranks 146th and 149th out of 180 countries in the Corruption Perception Index of the public sector in 2019 and 2020 respectively. The Economic Recovery Growth Plan, which echoes the earlier agricultural transformation agenda of the predecessor government, was launched in 2017 to reduce the overdependence on oil and boost economic diversification. One of the activities of the social inclusion of the ERGP is to sustain conditional cash transfer program. The federal government reported that it had captured about 30 million Nigerians from 699 local government areas from 7 million poor and vulnerable households as at March 2021. However, the National Cash Transfer Office has currently 2,505 benefiting poor and vulnerable households, representing 8,100,682 individuals, representing about 1 out of every 10 poor individuals in Nigeria. This emphasizes the fantasy in achieving sustainable food and nutrition security. Over 55 billion had been disbursed by the Central Bank of Nigeria to over 250,000 farmers under the ERGP, and about 80% of these had gone into rice production by 2018. This is domestic production in Nigeria. The ERGP also lacks an underlying program logic to help in its implementation and performance evaluation. For instance, there is a commitment to making the exchange rate more market reflective, but there is no policy objective or action specifically highlighted in ERGP that addresses exchange rate issues. Furthermore, the ERGP has 60 goals and more than 100 key activities. This seems to be overbloated and a fantasy given the time and resource constraints. The Mass Agricultural Program under the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan was launched in the year 2020 with the aim of improving local farming and agro-allied activities by adding up to 100,000 hectares of new agricultural land to each state. However, the focus is on food availability policies. The focus of food availability policies should be on improving agricultural productivity in Nigeria. For instance, the rice yield in Nigeria is 2 to 3 tons per hectare compared to 6 to 8 tons per hectare reported on research lots. In addition, the current Nigerian cassava yield is 9.1 tons hectares compared to Ghana's 20 tons per hectare and Indonesia's 24 tons per hectare. Furthermore, the establishment of the Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones in 2020 covers the proposition of establishing agro-industrial parks, agro-transformation centers, and agro-support systems in Anambra, Benue, Cross River, and Ebonyi states to utilize products derivable from horticulture, rice, industrial cassava, and cocoa as feedstock. Benue, Kebbi, and Ondo are the lead cassava, rice, and cocoa producing states in Nigeria, respectively. However, neither of the lead cocoa and rice producing states are included in the program. All this shows setbacks in Nigerian policies to attain zero hunger by 2030. Natural environment. The rainfall pattern is unsteady in Nigeria, but the average annual temperature are more or less moderate over the years. The Nigerian Sahelian belt faces the challenges of high variability in precipitation with its attendant impact on reduction in the extent of wetlands and almost complete loss of the Lake Chad. Additionally, the system. For instance, the farmer-headed conflict emerges due to competition for natural resources, mainly fertile land and water, among arable farmers and pastoralists. This results in a further decline in the ecological resilience of the food system and increases tensions, violence, and political instability, which consequently reduces the willingness to invest in agriculture in conflict-ridden regions. Moreover, long-term unrestricted access to forage with little or no penalty for overgrazing has incentivized the continued growth of nomadic cattle herds with overgrazing. In addition, there is a decline in the yield of natural feed stocks, which is an indicator that fish stocks have reached the point of maximum sustainable yield. Technology. Most of the smallholder farmers who constitute the majority of the agricultural sector in Nigeria still use manual farm tools and cannot adopt these innovations. For instance, Nigeria has only 7 tractors per 100 square meters compared to African average of 27 tractors per 100 square meters, resulting in lost man hours in clearing, plowing, and general cultivation, inefficiencies, and high harvest and post-harvest losses. Furthermore, the adoption of digital technologies in the Nigerian food system is still a huge challenge in Nigeria. These underscore a weak publicly funded agricultural technology systems in Nigeria and its underperformance in the food system to ensure food and nutrition security for the nation. Interconnectivity within the Nigerian food system. Mitigating the detrimental effects of the current food system is limited by a dearth of national surveys providing data sets that combine information on food and nutrition security in Nigeria. For instance, data on actual food storage in Nigeria is very, very scarce. This is a major setback to understanding the dynamics and complexity of food system holistically for food and nutrition policy decisions. Furthermore, the National Council on Nutrition, recently inaugurated in 2021, is expected to have the proportion of people who suffer malnutrition by scaling up impact, nutrition-specific and nutrition-sensitive interventions. Nevertheless, the objectives that the target of the action plan is to achieve nutrition security in the country, but leaves out the dimension of food security. In addition, the council is chaired by the vice president, who is a lawyer, but surprisingly, its membership does not include the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development. The non-inclusion of food security dimension in its objective points to fantasy in achieving food and nutrition security in Nigeria, because nutrition security cannot be achieved without food security. Why do we need food system transformation to achieve sustainable food and nutrition security in Nigeria? The Dean, sir. From the foregoing, it is obvious that the present food system in the country cannot achieve food and nutrition security for the nation, and all activities thus far are mere fantasies. Nigeria must therefore transform its food system to be more efficient and inclusive to ensure a sustainable food and nutrition security as the population doubles over the next 30 years. Developing a sustainable food system can therefore help to find solutions that will provide the world's growing population with a sufficient supply of healthy food within the environmental limits. It involves a collaborative network that integrates food production, processing, distribution, consumption, and waste management. But it remains difficult. And waste management. Truly, the path to the stomach is the path to heaven. Food and nutrition security in Nigeria. The answer. Food security and nutrition are threatened when food systems do not perform adequately. The pathways to the realization of sustainable food and nutrition security in a changing food system are leveraged on activities in the food system. The pre-production sustainability. The shortcomings of the market meat is a major constraint to the food system in Nigeria. Addressing this requires multidisciplinary coordination among Extension Delivery System, the National Agricultural Research System, Nutrition and Health Sector, National Information Technology Development Agency, as well as public and private sector suppliers of agricultural inputs. More collaborations among the wide range of actors in the food system, that is, the business, farmers, policymakers, consumer groups, and researchers, is critical for developing and scaling up viable solutions. Production sustainability. The magnitude of foodstuffs is driven more by political economy factors associated with farm price policy rather than explicit policies towards managing a particular level of foodstuffs. Thus, shifting reserves to private institutions which tend to operate more efficiently, reducing the number of commodities held in reserve, and allowing wider margins between floor and ceiling prices to decrease the number of times that the government must intervene to stabilize prices are essential to sustainable food production. Agricultural production should also be designed with explicit nutritional objectives rather than focusing on caloric intake or economic factors. A country that wants to realize full potential of its large numbers of youth must make long-term investments in human capital and modern technologies, because only modern farmers can drive modern changes in the structure of the transitioning food system. Increased government and private investment in mechanization and digital technology in the food system activities will thus attract younger generations to agriculture and retain them, and by extension, reduce the inimical consequences of rural-urban migration. Supply chain sustainability. A major approach to solving the food and nutrition insecurity problem is the market systems approach, which recognizes markets as complex adaptive systems to address systemic constraints to market linkages that can affect multiple value chains. For instance, strengthening linkages to financial services for farmers. Effective flow of information, including scientific and economic information among different market sectors, is pivotal for the sustainable operation of our food system. Innovation should also be geared towards digital marketing, food and input logistics, as well as food storage and processing. In addition, Nigeria needs a total overhaul of the policies that determine the food supply chain. An indispensable thrust of these policies is for the private sector to complement public investment in upgrading market and logistics infrastructure with support for the hundreds of thousands of smallholder actors in all sectors of the food supply chain. Sustainable food loss and waste management. Mr. Dean, sir, to prevent food loss and waste problem in Nigeria, education and technical support for farmers and processors, such as provision of cold chain facilities and improved processing and packaging technologies, are pivotal. Government at all levels should also support the establishment of farmers' cooperatives and market infrastructural development. Nutrition education for consumers and promotion of proper storage, food purchase, and consumer planning are also essential. Early warning systems for farmers to reduce climate variability risks, as well as access to real-time market information and prices, are crucial for investment decisions. Consumption sustainability. Social protection is considered critical not only for reducing or preventing income poverty, but also impacts the right to adequate food because it addresses constraints that prevent people from accessing food or procuring it by a variety of means. Finding alternatives in plant protein and edible insects would reduce the greenhouse gas mitigation gap by half and nearly close the protein demand gap with limited environmental consequences. This will, however, require nutrition education for individuals, households, and communities. Cross-cutting issues. in sustainable food systems for ensuring food and nutrition security. Women smallholders and subsistence farmers are responsible for half of the world's food production, nutrition in most homes, including the purchase and preparation of food. However, gender inequalities are a major barrier to the food system in developing countries. The Yoruba adage says, "We are discussing pumpkins." A woman asks about what we are discussing, and we respond that it's men's fault. After we have gathered the pumpkins, who will cook them? And sorry, obìnrin bèrè pé kí là ń sọ, alọ́rọ̀ ọkùnrin ni, tí wọ́n bá pe elégédé jọ tán, ta ni ó sè é? The effective integration of gender mainstreaming into food system analysis is therefore critical for food and nutrition security as well as food aid interventions. The global figures on undernourished people are rough estimates at best, and even less well known in the increase in diet deficiency and related long-term health effects that impair physical and mental capacities. The estimates are based on aggregate data, not actual people, level of food deficiencies, and only capture patterns and broad trends, but not annual changes. Owing to the need for more and better data on food and nutrition security, policy action should target investment in improved food and nutrition-related data, which show causes of food and nutrition insecurity and not on outcomes. The right to food is a human right, and every human being is a right holder to food. Therefore, a multi-sectorial right to food and nutrition security, reflecting both the evolving definitions of food and nutrition security and the evolving codification of food and health rights, would encompass the rights of households and individuals to adequate nutrient content through sustainable foods. Conclusion. As the world is going virtual, food is physical and cannot be virtual. The current year does not provide a healthy diet for everyone, nor have the necessary capacity to produce sufficient total calories. Creating a sustainable to fight the double burden of malnutrition and mitigate the harmful climate impacts that current agricultural practices have on planetary health. Translation of food and nutrition research requires stronger connections across disciplines and with cutting-edge technologies, linkages to science education, training and outreach, as well as upgrading of scientific infrastructure. Key recommendations. Mr. Dinsler, from the foregoing phenomena, the current approaches to achieving sustainable food and nutrition security are mere fantasies. The Department of Agricultural Economics, University of Ibadan, has been a pioneer in researches on food and nutrition security in Nigeria and in Africa. However, the specific policy interventions emanating from the lecture are suggested as follows. 1. There is a need for holistic and multi-sectoral thinking on food and nutrition policies from conception. This requires institutional linkages and partnership among subsystems of the national food system, that is the research, farmers, input and consumers, to facilitate supporting and sharing of basic applied research for improved food and nutrition security. Collaborations and discourse with other subsystems in the Nigerian food system can be initiated by the Food and Nutrition Research System, facilitated by the national and international funding. This could start by making the faculty lectures multi-sectoral fora, where all stakeholders, academics and non-academics, converge to motivate holistic and multi-sectoral thinking on food and nutrition policies. In addition, encouraging researchers, development practitioners and policymakers to see the bigger picture of food system thinking will help to facilitate multi-stakeholder collaboration and policy coordination on food and nutrition security at different levels to promote a more balanced relationship and jointly address future challenges. This calls for a synergy of ideas through interdisciplinary food and nutrition research engagement. Mr. Dean, sir, it is expected that our great Faculty of Agriculture, University of Ibadan, will produce synergized, cross-cutting interdisciplinary responses to future calls for national and international research proposals on food and nutrition security. Moreover, there is also the need for improvement of the national food system for the increased flow of data and information across sectors. This will ease the support for information coherence and provide capacity development for data collection, analysis, and policy advocacy on food and nutrition security. Measures should also be taken to protect human rights of the vulnerable, the landless, women, children, and the elderly, to equality of access to food and nutrition, to equality of access to food and nutrition, land, credits, natural resources, and technology for food production. This is achievable by incorporating food rights elements into the national constitution and interventions addressing national food and nutrition insecurity policy and interventions for Nigeria. This will also provide social safety support for small-scale actors in the food system in accessing natural resources and realizing their livelihood outcomes, including food and nutrition security. This will require national and international funding to update the National Social Register for the poor and vulnerable households in both rural and urban Nigeria. Additionally, there should be increased private and public investment in national, state, and private food reserves to make food buffer stock available and strengthen the resilience of the food system from future shocks. Finally, food for the stomach and the stomach for food, and God will destroy them both. Therefore, do not labor for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you, when Him, God the Father, has placed His seal of approval. I am grateful to the Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture, Professor O.J. Babayemi, for his goodwill in nominating me to deliver this lecture and for facilitating the lecture. It was a pleasant coup plotted against me. May the lines always fall upon you in pleasant places. I am also thankful to my head of department, Professor Sulaiman Adeniyi Yusuf, who encouraged me and gave me the push to prepare this lecture. I gave him many reasons why I did not want to present the lecture, but he dismissed them all. I am most grateful to all heads of departments in our great faculty of logistics. I thank my late teachers, Professors R.O. Adeboye, F.S. Idachaba, and J.O. Akintola, as well as my retired teachers, Professor J.K. Olayemi, O.A. Falusi, A.J. Adegayi, Tomilayo Adekoye, J.A. Akinwumi, A.E. Ipe, and V.O. Akinyosui, for engrafting onto me the discipline of agricultural economics. With a deep sense of loss, I appreciate the late Dr. Olubunmi Yetunde Ajayi for being a wonderful teacher, mentor, and mother. To my serving teachers, Professors V.O. Okorua, M.A.Y. Raji, T.T. Awoyemi, B.T. Omonono, Adetola Adeoti, O.A. Oni, and Kemsola Adelego, I say a big thank you to you. I also extend my profound gratitude to my colleagues, Drs. K.K. Seliman, Oluwafunmise Olajide, Abimbola Adepoju, F.A. Showuni, Olubunmi Alawode, Oreneru Emu-Obi-Egbede, and C.O. Idiaye for your support and sacrifices towards the success of this lecture. I extend my gratitude to all members of the administrative staff of the Department of Agricultural Economics, Mrs. Margaret, headed by Mrs. Margaret Elifade, Mr. Ogoni, Mrs. Omonike Adeshino, and Mr. Olojede. I am immensely grateful to you for your administrative support. I appreciate all my teachers at the elementary and secondary schools. I am also grateful to all my professors that taught me in this faculty. You all made me. I thank all my past and present students for being a wonderful team. I also appreciate all the members of the think tank committee of the Agri Impact Initiative for the privilege to serve the community. My appreciation will not be complete if I fail to recognize Pastor Udofia, Pastor J.K. Ogushola, Dr. Ayo Odeshola, and members of Deeper Christian Life Ministry, Kajola District, Ibadan. Thank you for your fellowship. I give a shout out of appreciation to my brethren at the New Covenant Church Express Center for the age-long bond. Indeed, we have come a long way. Thank you all for your true fellowship. I would also like to appreciate Professor and Mrs. Sunday Shenwa, Professor E.A. and Professor E.A. Salako for their spiritual mentorship. My unreserved appreciation also goes to Professor A.A. Omoluyi, Professor Stella Odebode, Doctors Oshusoya, K.A. Thomas, and Oluwafunmilayo Adeleye for your prayers and words of encouragement. I am immensely grateful to Professors and Mrs. Festus Agbola Adesonye, Chief and Chief Mrs. Endi Oladeji, Mommy Grace Ebiola, Mommy Kike Lomadepoju, and Mommy Elizabeth Ajibade for your parental support and prayers. I also recognize and appreciate my friends, Dr. Olukemi Olowe, Mrs. Abosede Fatiregu, Mrs. Temitope Ojebuyi, Dr. Kolawole Adeniyi, Mr. and Mrs. Oyineko Odeniyi, Pastor Tunde Ololapo, and Mrs. Adenike Omoike. I also appreciate Dr. Olajumoke Alabi for your consistent support. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Professor Bolari Titus Omonono, my teacher and brother-in-law, for your exemplary, simple, and humble leadership style. You are never too busy to attend to me whenever the needs arise, including the teaching of open dialects. Asim, sir. I also appreciate Professor Abosede Omonono for being a wonderful sister to me. Thank you so much. Dr. Abimbola Oluwayemisi Adepoju, you are indeed a true friend and a sister to me. My special thanks go to Mr. Olashemi Adepoju and my lovely daughters, Tiwalope Solua and Oreluwa, for your support and for being a source of joy to me and my family. Without any reservation, I appreciate Professor Taiwo Timothy Awoyemi, my supervisor and father, who gave me a conducive environment to obtain a PhD. Being under your supervision was an amazing experience for me. You are a wonderful mentor who combines everything one could look for in a mentor, leader, teacher, and father. I am most grateful to Professor John Olatunji Adeoti and Professor Adetola Ibuduni Adeoti for being worthy mentors and for guiding me on the right path. You showed up at a stage in my life when I was at my lowest ebb. You mentored me and showed me the ropes to overcome my challenges. Your mentorship and encouragement taught me to be the best version of myself. I will forever be grateful to you. I express my gratitude to the Obayelus, notably the matriarch of the family, Mama Comfort Obayelu, Pastor John Olushola Baishia, and Mrs. Deborah Oloruntomi Baishia, Elder and Mrs. Olorunipa, and Chief Timothy Obayelu for true commitment and prayers. I thank all members of my extended family, including Reverend and Mrs. David Olatoyosi Oladele, Pastor Samson Oladero, and Mr. and Mrs. Abiodun Oladele for their moral support and prayers. I extend my unreserved gratitude to my siblings, Oluwabumi, Oluwafunke, Adeoluwawale, Toluwalope, Aderiye, Oluwatomi, Oluwabamise, Temiloluwa, and Toluwanini. Together with your spouses, you are all very special to me. Thank you so much for being true brothers and sisters I can always count on. Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts. My unreserved appreciation goes to my father, the late Moses Adewusi, for laying the foundation of my academic pursuits with utmost commitment and dedication. My appreciation also goes to my mother, Mrs. Rachel Omoyola Adewusi, for the gift of love and sacrifice. I appreciate both of you for giving me a moral stand and educational upbringing, understanding all the time. Thank you also for enduring my impatience and drive to instill godly and moral characters in you. I expressly appreciate my friend, confidant, cheerleader, watching my back and providing an enabling environment for me to thrive in my career. Blessed Holy Spirit, my teacher and seal to the day of redemption, thank you for wisdom and for being the pillar of cloud directing my life. I am grateful to my Lord Jesus Christ, both the power and the wisdom of God, who has chosen me among the base things of the world and the things which are despised to show his mercy through the work of redemption on the cross. Blessed be God, even the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of mercies, who can do immeasurably more than all I ask or imagine. Unto you, the King eternal, immortal, invisible, the only wise God, be honor and glory forever and ever. Amen.
On behalf of the day, the 30th of June, 2021, an award of honor. Congratulations. Let us remain
standing in honor, permit while they leave the hall. The academic procession is stepping now. Let's remain standing while they leave the hall.
Listen, Kemo.
Can you go back?
Chatia. No, you must have to work with
also want to recognize the presence of Professor B. Nkrumah of the College of University of Ibadan. Let's appreciate Head of the Department of Agricultural Economics, Professor S.A. Yusuf. Thanks for coming.
Amen.
Professor I can also see BT
Baba Nutrition.
Professor Adetola Adeoti. Professor Adetola Adeoti. You are welcome. Thanks for coming. We also recognize the presence of Professor O.A. Oni. Is also here with us. Yeah. And Professor K.O. Adele. Professor O. Adele. She has another version of the Ankara. Professor is there. It's up now. You can just see the professor from where you are. We need to recognize especially the family of the faculty lecturer. Let's start with the also head. That's the very person of the household. Dr. Elijah Abai, you are welcome. All the people from to bring the new audition. Yeah, we have many guests here. Pardon me, I cannot just mention your name. We are all appreciated. I want to say thank you, please. The faculty lecturer, please. Let's pay attention. So now the faculty officer is fully on ground here to present the celebrant to the whole house. Thank you, ma'am.
You are all welcome to Faculty of Agriculture, particularly to the Department of I don't need any special introduction of the faculty lecturer. We are all known now. Let's give her a round of applause for the well-delivered lecture. You know, she is a specialist in developmental economics and welfare, and she has spoken to us in the auditorium today. Let's celebrate her with a moment.
Thank you, ma'am. Just be loading your comment, please. I can also see Miss Dr. Ajani is here from Wildlife and Ecotourism. You are also welcome. Without wasting time, the next thing now is to listen to the HOD's address. To give his address.
Distinguished members of academic of the faculty, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of us. I would like to thank God for this opportunity that we have in the department to showcase some of the things that we do in the department, and to also let us know that whether we like it or not, food chain system is one big system that everybody fits into, and that at the end of the day, it has to be a multidisciplinary approach if we actually want to achieve reality in food and nutrition security in Nigeria. What we have currently is fantasy because we are not operating like some colleagues will say at the frontier. We are operating below the frontier of food nutrition and food and nutrition security. But hopefully with some of the recommendations that have been put forth today for us to change the dynamics, we'll get to the reality that suits Nigeria at the end of the day. I'd like to appreciate the day for giving us this opportunity to at least come up with something for the faculty. I'm also delighted that today the lecturer has a prima facie established as an associate professor. The day couldn't attend this lecture because he was busy trying to ensure that everything went well, and eventually everything went well at the APC. So we thank God for his message.
Which APC?
Appointment and Promotion Committee, not APC. And it's not APC that they think. I think we don't have to talk so much because the day has been fast spent, but I guess that we must have enjoyed ourselves in terms of the lecture. And like she said, everything can go virtual, but really not food. Because you have to go back. That's why you see that virtually every one of us became farmer within our respective domains during COVID-19 lockdown. Because the lockdown prevented us from going to the market. But stomach cannot wait for the next day. Whether you like it or not, you must have to put in something. And it has to be physical, not virtual. So we pray that we'll continue to get all of this done in the best way possible. Thank you very much for honoring us, and we look forward to more of this in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, we thank the HOD Economics.
Thank you very much. I want to start with our professors from the Department of Agricultural Economics. Permit me not to mention the names one by one. And also our colleagues from other departments and faculties. And then our friends from outside the university. And more importantly, I'd like to appreciate the faculty lecturer of today, being supported by the OSPAD. I want to be sincere to us that when it came to the turn of agricultural economics, I became highly apprehensive to actually see the possibility or the practicality of what we were about to do, because they are always busy, ever busy, either they are on the field, or carrying out research and all that. Even though it's not a department of philosophy, but they philosophize so much that they will tell you reasons why that thing cannot be done. And of course, the HOD is here. It took time before they could give me a clear-cut direction as to who is going to present in the department. But we can actually see today that we have lost so much if the Department of Agricultural Economics decided not to present. It was a great one. A few minutes that I listened to it, I said, can you imagine this? Can inaugural lecture be better than this? Yeah. If you look at the content and then the style of presentation is so fantastic. And if you compare it with even inaugural lecture that people present, you won't see any much a difference.
Thank you so much. And then we were able to economize the time so much over there. And even our standing here is part of the economy that we have in the Department of Agric Economics. And don't be surprised if you open your takeaway, whatever you see there, you should know that economy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And HOD mentioned something that is peculiar with today's faculty lecture. That it's a double joy, one for this lecture, and then number two for the establishment of prima facie for her associate professorship reader. It was a good one. And indeed, for the faculty of agriculture, because 13 cases were presented and all went well, either to reader or to a professor. And we need to appreciate everybody for this, especially our assessors. Many of them are here, and some are not here. I started thanking them one by one because their reports were read and they were actually fantastic and highly objective. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
We thank our Dean for the well-prepared speech. Thank you very much. Now the lecturer is going to give our own address. It's a short one, but I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Mr. Dean, sir, my head of department, Professor V.O. Kodwa, my pastors, my friends, my teachers, colleagues, I appreciate you all for coming.
Stay where you're supposed.
I appreciate you all for coming. Everybody, my advance, Professor Ojo, thank you. I appreciate you so much. What shall I say unto the Lord? All I have to say is thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. All I have to say is thank you. The Lord will honor you, and the Lord will repay you with manifold blessings. I'm so grateful the department, the organizing committee. Thank you, you've done so much. Dr. Obiagbedi, Dr. Alawode, Dr. Showumi, Dr. Idiaye. I'm sure he's still on the move. He's still on the move. I appreciate you so much. You've done so well. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, everybody. I'm so grateful. I'm elated. Nafumi, I see you. I see everybody. Auntie, Dr. Ajiboye, thank you, ma. Thank you, everybody. My pastors, you are all here. I don't know what to say, but just to say thank you, Jesus, and thank you, everybody, for coming. God bless you.
That's what we speak from the address of faculty lecturer. Thank you very much. The next will be taken by Professor K.O. Kemisola Ademeko, and that is true.
Always read it well. Kemisola Omari.
Kemisola. Oh, you should not release the number. Okay. So the cutting of the cake and photography stuff. So she's going to have it there.
Okay. Thank you. So the celebrants, the lecturer would take copies and take photographs with the dean. Let's take with her. Yes. One shot.
So after the count of 3, you cut. FO, faculty officer. Please. Okay. Yes, the faculty officer has to join. Please come.
No, the man is not coming. No, I will go get flag.
Okay. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Is the dean still here? The dean, sir? The dean, sir? The dean? Yeah, we want to need entertainment, so we allow you to just proceed to the dean. Okay, they say you should pick, sir.
What is there? I will pick, but I already know what is there. Everything is all about economy.
So the professors, other professors should follow and pick, please. Other professors, please also proceed and pick. Then, other academic staff should also join. We don't want to be rowdy, sir. That's just what we're trying to. Otherwise, to be rowdy. Members of staff should follow suit. Members of staff, we don't want to be rowdy, please. We don't want to be rowdy. Members of staff. Don't let it be rowdy, please. You don't want to be rowdy. Let it be another. Others also pick, please.
It's been wonderful, and we are grateful to God. So, before we do anything, I think we should say, God, we are grateful. Then I want to thank my Dean. Like I just whispered into his ears now. He has won so many laurels in his short period as our Dean in this faculty. It is wonderful. Thank you, sir. The Lord bless you, and the Lord reward your goodness in every way in Jesus' name. We want to thank my HOD. He's a team player. He will force you to, be part of the team, whether you like it or not. The Lord bless you, my HOD. I saw him still working, still talking with the lecturer even to the last minute. The Lord bless you. Thank you. He's more than a lecturer. He's a brother, he's a father, he's a husband. He's many things to many people. God bless you. We want to thank all those that came from other departments. Before I come back home, other departments from HODs came around. And then from the faculty office, we thank all of you for coming. The Lord bless you. We want to thank all the professors in rich economics, starting from the director of academic planning. The Lord bless you, sir. And all the other professors, God bless you. And we want to... we are teachers because we have students. So we thank our students. Thank you for the support. And we want to also thank the committee. You did a wonderful job, a marvelous job. The Lord bless you. Now we want to thank the immediate family. Dr. Abiodun Elijah of Bayelu, the Lord bless you. There are many men out there that will not encourage their wives. They feel threatened. But you have been there. You have been a great support to her. The Lord bless you. We appreciate you. Thank you. When we are doing our gender conference, we will invite you. It's gender sensitive, yeah. And I want to thank Mommy. Thank you. The Lord bless you. We thank the children for being wonderful. We thank all our friends and everybody. Thank you. The technical people, those taking pictures, video, and all of that. God bless you. We appreciate you. Without you, we won't have a record of this. Then the non-academics, the whole that make sure that there's no friction. The Lord bless all of you. Madam Secretary, Madam, we are saying thank you. Yes, for you and your team, the security, all of you. Thank you, the Lord bless you. Have a good evening. See you at the next faculty lecture.